Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Steph, and if you're not new here, thank you for coming back. As you can see, the kitchen and dining area of my house are quite bad at the moment. I have recently returned from holiday and had an exam in the same week, and both the journey of returning home and the stress of the exams has just caused a bit of a physical flare-up for me. So I've been really struggling with the house. But in this video, I just need to get, one room of the house completely done so that I can get that motivation to move on to the rest of the house, which you won't see in this video, but I think what you will see is quite a good transformation. So stick with the process. My plan for this coming week is to do at least 2 other rooms in the house to completion. Now, I say to completion, there was more that I wanted to do in this kitchen, but by the time I got to the end of the day, because this is all done in one day, but it's throughout the day, and I probably spend about 3 hours on it, which it seems like a long time, but also I don't feel like there was as much done as what some people could do in 3 hours. But we do what we can. Anyway, so it was 3 hours throughout the entire day. And then by the evening, now I don't normally clean in the evenings, but I came back in this kitchen and tidied up so many times. You don't even get to see how often I came back to try and maintain it so that I could get the after pictures for you guys. But anyway, so by the end of the day, I set the camera up and I'm sweeping and I'm like, yes, today's the day we're going to mop. In fact, I'm not even sweeping, I'm hoovering. I'm like, yes, we're going to mop. But I end up hoovering and the pain is just intense in my shoulders. And I'm like, yeah, there's no way I can mop. So we end up leaving the mopping again. Oh, by the time I eventually get around to mopping my floors, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be so bad. Anyway, as you can see, I'm doing what I always try to start with, and that is load the dishwasher. Now, at the time that I start this clean, it is morning, and then I'm planning on going for lunch with my husband afterwards. So I'm on a little bit of a time crunch. So I'm just trying to do what I can in that time that I have in the morning, because I say it in the morning. I had a very late start to the day this day. I think I didn't get out of bed till about 10:30. And then by the time I actually started doing housework, because I ended up being on the phone to Danielle for about 45 minutes. So by the time I started doing the housework, it was like noon. So I'm saying morning, but it really wasn't morning. Anyway, my husband usually works like 9 till 3 and then most evenings as well. But on this day, he was only working till 1. So we were planning on going for some lunch without the children, which is not something we get to do like very often. So yeah, just trying to do as much as we can. And this is a doom pile that has been sitting on the counter and just gradually getting bigger, like over, I don't know, a few weeks now. Usually all I like to have at the end of this counter is a candle. So this has been like an area of contention for me, but not enough that I've managed to like sort it out. So today is the day we completely clear down all the counters. It's funny, by the end of this clean, my husband comes in and he's like, oh my God, it's like a completely different room, because we're both just so used to how much chaos has been in there. But a lot of the clothes get put away, some of the appliances on the bunkers get put away. Also, just if you are new here, I interchangeably use the word countertop, counter, and bunker because they're all terms for countertops in my area. And if you're wondering about the word bunker, it's a regional term in my part of Scotland, which is Fife. Anyway, at this point, I'm thinking I should just keep that toasty machine on the counter or bunker, because everybody in my house loves toasties, apart from me. Like, I don't really care. They're too crunchy for me. Like, I like the filling of a toasty. I don't particularly care about the outside part. Anyway, I'm saying a toasty machine. It's actually George Foreman, so you can do other things on it. But Madison often will get it out to make cheese toasties. Kai really loves cheese toasties. So does Lily, and so does Pete. So they all just keep getting it out, but then they never put it away. And they're always like, yeah, it's because we're leaving it to cool down. I was like, yeah, okay, you made these toasties 3 days ago. I'm pretty sure the machine is cooled down now. You could have put it away by now, but nobody ever does. So it just stays out. And I'm thinking, should it just be out? They probably make toasties more than they make toast. Maybe I should leave it there instead of the toaster. I don't know. That's a problem for another day. Anyway, as you can see, we end up clearing the kitchen quite quickly. It looked like really chaotic, but to be honest, most of the time it's just dishes and a wee bit rubbish and maybe the occasional doom pile. But this half of the kitchen, when it's like, this is kind of an island, like that bit with the candle. And so when that gets filled up with stuff, the kitchen looks messier than it actually probably is in reality. Like, it really didn't take that long to clear all this off. Also, I did not get to cleaning the stovetop. I kept on planning to come back to it, and then it just doesn't happen. And I'm going to explain a little bit more later, like what my plan was. But yeah, also I went to get cleaner out of the cupboard to like clean down the bunkers and realised I had none. And so then I went hunting for it because I was like, I was sure we had some. And I thought maybe Madison had it because she cleaned her room. Well, it was a while ago she did that because it's needing done again. But I couldn't find the cleaner. And so I have no idea where that went, if it was used up. The only cleaner that I have in my house is white vinegar, which is hilarious because I literally run a cleaning channel and I don't have any cleaner in my house. So yeah, on this day, when I went for lunch with my husband, I also picked up a few things. What you're going to see me do is after I clean all this down, we move to the dining area and I'm still unpacking. Like, we still have all our suitcases to unpack. But I'm not wanting to unpack them all until I'm like washing them at the same time. So what we did was any clean clothes that we still had, we put into one of the suitcases and then the dirty clothes went into all the others so they weren't mixed up. So what I am doing is emptying the clean clothes like basically straight into the washing machine so I can wash the loads. Now, bearing in mind, as of the time that I'm releasing this video, we've been back a week and I've probably only unpacked one of the suitcases. But we're, like I say, it's been a week. We are getting there. Also, I don't know why I put this candle lighter back into the drawer because it doesn't work. I don't know if it's ran out of fuel, but I've never refueled a lighter in my life. I don't even know how to do that. Also, I noticed like the candle has done that thing where it's like hollowed out a section in the middle, but like the edges are still covered in wax. So I was just trying to circle around to see if I could melt some of that wax. And that's what I was doing there. Also, do not worry, we cycle back and do these dishes. This is a video where the dishes are done to completion. There's not even the random green bottle left behind. It is done. So very proud of myself for that. Especially because it does take like 3 attempts to come back into this kitchen on this day to get it done. I am really wanting to do a pantry clear out with you guys. I'm just not sure on the logistics of how to do it because there's no space to put a tripod in the pantry to watch me doing it. But me and Danielle have ordered, well, Danielle ordered a new tripod and it's really tall and sturdy, that like for the other channel. And then she was like, we need to get more of these. So we're planning on buying more of those. So maybe I would be able to use one of those in the pantry to see if we can do it. If not, I'm just gonna have to do like a little video shot and then take everything out and then do another video shot and then clean everything, restock it and put it all back in a better way. We'll see how it works out. So yeah, I'm just cleaning everything down with white vinegar. It's such a versatile product. Also, I was, like I mentioned, I had an exam, and if you watched the live that me and Danielle did this week, you will know that I thought the exam was on Wednesday and it turned out that it was actually on Thursday, and that just kind of threw my whole week off a little bit. But also, it wasn't until like the day before the exam that I actually started studying in a way that I found helpful. Like previously, the way I was studying, it's what's called passive studying. So if you like rewriting out notes or reading the textbooks or rewatching the lectures, that's all classed as passive studying because you're not really actively participating in it. So for active studying, and it's been shown, you know, if you participate in active studying, you're more likely to remember the material than if you just passively rewrite notes and things. So I have a friend at university and he's been studying abroad this past year and he's just come back now, and I am so excited for him to be back because in first year, I did have some friends in first year, but they weren't really as like wanting to study in the way, like as much as I was wanting to study. And they were also struggling a bit with the material, whereas I wasn't in first year. So it was more of a one-way give and take relationship where I was helping them, but I wasn't really getting anything in return. But in second year, I became friends with this guy. He's called Jack, and we spent all of second year like studying together on Zoom calls and stuff, because obviously I don't live in the same town, and I think we were both commuting students at the time actually, or maybe he was living in halls, I don't remember, but anyway, we just studied a lot together. But it was like quizzing each other, talking about the material, and it just worked really well, and I just enjoyed the experience a lot better. But then because he's been studying abroad this year, which is third year, I just haven't had anybody to study with and nobody to talk about the material with. And also, I've not been going to classes as much as I normally would. So I feel like he was that external motivation for me. And I'm so looking forward to fourth year because he's going to be back and we're going to study together. And he's already saying, you know, we've got library dates and like we have plans to study. It's going to be great. And I'm really like excited about it, because the thing about what we're learning is if you don't get to chat about it with people and put forward your ideas and stuff, there's no fun in it. It's just, okay, so I've got to read this from a textbook, or I've got to listen to this 2-hour lecture and try not to fall asleep kind of thing. So anyway, so we did a lot of active studying, and I think that's why I enjoyed it and understood the material and enjoyed the material more. So that's what I did just before going into the exam, and I was kicking myself for not doing that method earlier. So the method that I did was, first of all, I created a really good study guide based on the terminology and concepts and theories that I needed to know. And then we had kind of guidance on what the exam was going to be formatted like. So I gave that guidance to AI, ChatGPT, and said to it, this is the exam format, please ask me exam questions. And then I would respond to the questions, and then I would say, okay, this is the marking criteria, please grade my answer. And then it would grade me out of 5. And if it was like a 3.5, I'd be like, okay, so what would I need to do to achieve a 5? And then it would tell me like how I could improve. And as well, what I did was the exam went better than I thought it was going to go, to be honest. I am feeling more confident about it than what I was when I went into it. But what happened was, straight after the exam, I had my laptop with me. So I literally walked out of that exam, went and sat at a table, went straight back onto ChatGPT and said, this was the exam question that I got asked. This was the answer I gave. Did I do it right, basically? So I'm feeling pretty confident, at least in the second part of the exam, which is funny because it was the second part that I didn't think I would do very well. But I actually feel like I've aced the second part. And then 2 out of 3 of the first parts, I know I've done well. It's just the third part of this first section that I'm like, not too sure about that, because it wasn't a term that I actually studied. So I just had to wing it for that. Anyway, as you can see, that corner of the dining room is chaos. It's just clothes and towels and sheets, and it's all clean laundry, but also it's overflow of board games because there's no space on top of the Kallax unit, and it's the sock bag. But when I say the sock bag, it's like 4 sock bags all in one. So still not quite there. Anyway, this is now later in the day, which is why there's more dishes. Obviously, I think most of these dishes came from the table that I just cleared earlier on. And then, as you can see, I'm refilling the dishwasher. So my children got in from school, they emptied the dishwasher. That's Madison coming on screen now because she forgot to empty the cutlery, which that was her section that she was meant to be doing. So she's coming in doing that. At the same time, you know, all the kids are home, Pete's home, and then Danielle turns up as well. And so she's chatting away to me in a minute as well, that you'll see. And then, so because I'm doing this in sections, every time I come back to do it, there's more to do. Like, you've seen how quickly that got messy again. You know, Madison came in and she dumped her school bag on the bunker, and then I had a shopping bag on the bunker, and there's more letters because I think Lily got a certificate, and there was just a lot going on. And this is just how it shows how quickly, like, this is in one day, so it just shows how quickly it all messes up. That's what I was saying earlier, because I forgot, was because I'm emptying the suitcases of dirty laundry and it's taken a while, I had to buy some sort of like deodorizer and air freshener so that I could, like, you know, air out the suitcases after I remove the dirty laundry. Anyway, yeah, so here's Danielle, and I was like, I'm recording, and she was, it's fine. So she moved where she thought she was off camera, but she's on camera. But yeah, I think she came, were we going to do a voiceover? No, I don't feel like it was. Oh, she was bringing me the phone so that I could edit the footage for the video this week. But she has really bad stomach pain as well, so she's just not been feeling great. So yeah, so we're just chatting, hanging out, And then Madison was showing her, like, the kids got their timetables for for next year, the next academic year. And I think for the next, like, couple of weeks, they are acting as if they're in that year. So they've already moved to their classes for next year, which I don't really understand the system at school. It's a weird system. Anyway, Madison and Arthur were both in rotten moods this day because neither of them were like happy about their timetables. So Arthur was upset because he's not in any of Barclay's classes, which is his friend slash stepbrother. And then Madison was upset because she had a particular teacher that she didn't want. And she was saying to me, oh, you need to phone the school and tell them that I'm not going to be in that class. I need to be removed out of that class. And I was like, why? I can't do that. And she's like, because I can't understand them. I'm like, Madison, I can't do that. That's racist because the teacher's Indian. So I'm saying to her, you have to suck it up. Sometimes we get teachers we don't particularly enjoy. You get on with it. She was like, but I won't learn anything. And I said, look, I have told you so many times I will help you with that subject outside of school. You're the one choosing not to do that. So that's kind of on you. But to be fair, I am not one of those people that particularly, like, I don't put pressure on the kids to do well at school. Like, I was really good in school and I don't feel like it's benefited me in any way since leaving school. And I feel like if they just follow their passions, then they'll find what they want to do in life. I don't. Obviously, it would be good if they had, basic maths and English and science and all of that kind of thing. But at the same time, as long as they do well in the things that they're interested in, you can learn later. Like, I'm in my 30s and I'm at university. It's never too late to restudy. So if they don't want to do it right now, then I'm not going to pressure them. Anyway. So I think this is once again later after Danielle's gone and I'm washing dishes, which I do several times. And no, I don't wear gloves. My hands are actually already in a pretty broken mess right now, but I just was not feeling the gloves. They were irritating me today. So yeah. And then once again, the kids have emptied the dishwasher and put away the dishes on the draining board. They've also put away their washing that was on the table. I've put away my washing on the table. And then now I'm just washing these dishes. And then I think I do like a little sweep and hoover and things at the end. And then once I do that, that's kind of the end of the day and the end of the cleaning section. So if you are just here because you want to see me clean the house, that's absolutely fine. I'll kind of tell you when that part ends. But if you're here because this channel is At Home with Steph and you want to see more of, At Home with Steph, then stick around, because after this section here, this particular section, then it becomes the next day. And my plan for the next day was, I've maintained this kitchen all day. So my plan was to go in and clean all the cupboard fronts and descale the kettle and wipe down the toaster and steam mop the floors and do all of the deep stuff that I didn't get to on this day. However, it was then the weekend and my kids had different ideas. So the girls were wanting to do bacon, and then Madison she's just really wanting involved in the channel right now. So she was like, okay, well, can we record it? And I was like, oh, I suppose I could, and put it on the end of this video. So after this section, we do some bacon, and it's the next day, and we just are following a very basic recipe and making cakes. But there's a few funny things that happen in that moment, so we'll kind of talk about that as well. I love this hoover. And do you know what? I hardly ever hoover at night, so I don't really get to fully appreciate this green light, but it's so fun. Also, I think you've seen earlier on in the video that there was like a drying rack, like clothes horse, and a duvet on there. And for some reason, it was dirty. And I said to my husband, I was like, what happened with this? Did you wash this? Like, why is it so dirty? It turns out he'd put the duvet in the washing machine, but he'd also like filled it with like the duvet covers and the sheets. So the washing machine only fits the duvet. So he'd really like overfilled it. So instead of getting them clean, they somehow got dirtier. So I'm having to rewash all of that. So that's kind of what's going on right now. So on the right, those bags stacked up in a row, that's all socks. We need to do that. Like you guys need to make me do that. You need to like hound me. Just message me and be like, every time you watch a video, just, Steph, did you do the socks yet? Eventually it'll annoy me so much I'll have to do them. But yeah, by this point it was hurting me to hoover. I'm actually using my left hand here. I didn't realize how hard it is to hoover with your left hand. I think, see, because when I sat the exam, because I had to write for 2 hours straight, it kind of did something to like the whole right side of my body. I don't know if I was tensing or what, but my shoulder and my back and my actual hand and everything was really sore. Anyway, this is kind of the how we ended it on day one, and everything is nice and clean. And I've been on and off cleaning all day today just to maintain this room, because I cannot have this room get messy again until I've done the rest of the house. It will break my soul. It will. I don't think I will spiral if this room does not stay tidy while I do the rest. Anyway, so this is now the next day and we're baking. So we have 4 bowls and we're making a quadruple recipe. So Madison is wanting to make a tiered cake, and then I'm making cupcakes with Lily. So Madison's just weighing and measuring the ingredients, and then I'm adding the eggs, and then we're just kind of you'll see us kind of moving around and mix and match. And I do cut out like quite a bit of it because it did take a while, and I didn't get any cleaning done on this day because Arthur needed to go and get a vaccine in the morning, and then we'd gone to the town to do a bit of shopping and to buy the stuff for the baking, and then I did this baking. And I'm not very good at like staying in one place for very long, like standing wise. That's one of the reasons I hate doing dishes, is because standing for long periods of time is like quite difficult for me. So by the time we finished the baking, I was like, no, I need to sit down now. I'm not doing that. And then in the evening, we had planned to go to the cinema. In fact, I think Danielle comes around when we're in the middle of baking, and we go and do a voiceover. And that would have been Five Free Cleaning's video from yesterday by the time this video is releasing. And then we had planned to go to the cinema that night, but when we got there, it was sold out, so we didn't go see it. So we're actually seeing it today on the day that this video is releasing. I'm actually doing this voiceover on Saturday night, and then this video release on Sunday, because I don't have time to do it on Sundays, because that's when we do our free cleaning. But yeah, I didn't want to overdo it on this day, because I knew I'd be doing a free clean, and it's meant to be quite an extreme one. But yeah, so the bacon is all we do. But like I say, I do manage to like maintain just from cleaning up after ourselves. But as I was saying to Danielle, I don't know how people do that. Like, I literally had to clean on and off all day just to keep this room at a manageable level. So it was very frustrating. Also, how cute is Lily in her little like romper suit? I absolutely love it. That's my favourite outfit of hers. So there's a thing that Madison does, and I think it's coming up pretty soon, is she spills something on the bunker, and then I think she tried, like, I'm not aware, and she tries to wipe it and it's unsuccessful. So then she just kind of covers it with a towel and like gives you guys the side eye to be like, haha, like, don't tell mum, while all the time thinking, oh, when mum notices this, she's gonna see the footage and know it's me. And I said, when I found this out, I was like, Madison, I would have known it was you because you were the one over there doing that. Like, who else is it gonna be? Anyway, I managed to clean it up. But just the whole interaction of it was quite funny. And then, so because Madison really wants to get involved with the channel, she said to me, and I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was something like, so for all the videos that I'm in, can we do like a Madison series of questions or something like that? So basically, everybody knows, you know, we ask random questions in our videos, or we ask you to comment because it improves our our YouTube algorithm, which is one of the reasons, you know, I try and engage with you guys and ask you guys random questions. And so Madison said, of the videos that she's in, can she ask a question? And I was like, yeah, I suppose. She was like, because it'll be fun for me and I get to get involved, and it'll increase your I don't know why I keep saying Facebook. It'll increase your YouTube algorithm. I was like, yeah, okay, why not? So her question for you guys is, what music do you all listen to? Because she's just recently started listening to this band, I think it's a band called Korn. And early on in this day, she took a black top and some bleach-based cleaning product, and she painted the top, like kind of think tie-dye, but she's using bleach. Anyway, and so I think the top that she does is to do with the band that she likes. So after we finish doing the baking, Madison actually washes the dishes. Like, I rinse them all off and then she just has to wash them. And then she wants to show you the top that she made. So you guys get to see that. And then it was after that she asked her question of what music you like. So she'd probably really like it if you guys commented with what music. I always find it interesting to hear what other people listen to as well. I remember there was one time, I can't remember what was happening in my life, but I had some stuff going on, and I was just like, I'm really bad at finding new music or new anything because I always stick with stuff that I like. And I have a very varied taste in music, so depending on my mood, I just go back to all the original stuff that I like, and I hardly ever find new music. So I think at this point in my life, I had put a post up on Facebook and was just like, what is everybody like? Everybody tell me your favourite song. And I just went and listened to everybody's favourite song, and I found a couple of new bands that I liked in that way. And so that was really fun. But yeah, so me and Lily, we like mix up our mixture, and then we half it, and in half we do blue dye with milk chocolate chips, and in the other half we do red dye with white chocolate chips. And then Madison says, oh, well, can I mix the blue and the red to make purple? And so she does it, and it does not make purple. It makes some sort of, I describe it as weird alien goo color. But then when it cooks, it comes out blue. So I don't know. But when I was watching the footage back and seeing how much dye she added, I was like, whew, that's a lot of dye. But I think it is natural stuff. I don't know. Who knows? Oh yeah, Lily decided today that she was wearing her Princess Elsa crown and also her cat ears because that's how she rolls. She's very fashionable like that. But yeah, it was really nice to spend this time doing baking. Like I think I had said in a previous video, when I was growing up, if we ever did baking, it was like a special occasion, like once a year kind of deal. And it had to be pre-planned and all of this kind of thing. Whereas I pride myself on having at least the basic ingredients in the house. By the way, this is the stain that she made. She's so lucky that came off the bunker. And she just kind of like folds over and is like, yeah, I'll come back to that later. Anyway, as you can see, it's cleaned up now. But yes, I always kind of had the basic ingredients in the house. And we're making very basic cakes. Madison kept saying, oh, should we share the recipe? I was like, this is literally the most basic cake recipe. You don't need to share it. It's literally just flour, eggs, butter, and was that it? No, and sugar. And then that was it, and we just adjusted it. So now I'm making a cup of tea. Lily is so cute. She's sitting watching the cakes rise. She's sitting in front of the cooker watching the cakes rise because she's very excited for decorating them. That's her favourite bit. Then Madison is doing the dishes. I told her about, I'll make sure you rinse them off because people will shout at me in the comments if you don't. And she was like, really? They shout at you? I was like, yeah, it's a whole thing. They're worried about, the soap. And she was like, well, you tell them that the soap evaporates and it's not that deep. That's her thing lately. If an issue is not worth caring about, she's just like, it's not that deep. So I have to tell everybody who has an issue with us having bubbles on our dishes that it's not that deep. But she was really funny. I was gonna look for the audio of that part and keep it in, but that's a lot of effort, and it's like 5 to midnight right now. So yeah, this is her asking me if she can get her t-shirt to show you guys, and so she goes off screen and she gets a t-shirt, and this is it. So she did this herself with bleach based dye, and then this is later on. I think Danielle is about to come in. Anyway, the cakes have cooled. These are the blue ones, and then next to them are they're supposed to be red, but they're just plain dye. And so I'm piping the icing on, and then Lily's going to decorate with sprinkles, but I'm using like a cookie press to do the icing. And I think halfway through I'm just like, okay, that's enough, I can't be bothered doing this anymore. And then I just put a tiny bit of icing on some of them and then leave some of them plain because some people don't like icing. But yeah, so this is Madison's like skater phase in terms of like her clothing, and she's so funny because she's like, oh, I'm so fashionable and you're a dinosaur, and she makes fun of me all the time, and I'm like, Madison, she's like, I'm so cool. I'm like, who do you think you get that from? She's like, well, definitely not you. I was like, you dress how I feel. No, but seriously, I don't think she realizes just how similar to me she actually is. So yeah, I fill this up, and then I do a few more of these cakes, and then it empties again, and I'm just like, I'm not filling up again, I'm done. But yeah, Lily is waiting very patiently for me to do this so she can put sprinkles on. And that's Danielle arriving. And then Arthur is like, can I take a cake? Can I take a cake? And I was like, let me get an after photo before you try and take a cake, please. So he's waiting very patiently. And then Peter's here, he's starting to make dinner and he's making Danielle a coffee because apparently I make it wrong. And that's us at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!